and the first time since 1949, which is a pretty long time ago, if you're not aware. Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week of the Valentine Sports Show. And I'm your host, Frank Rampin, like always. And let's get into another week 2 of the NFL season. Yet another week 2 now. And a very eventful week yet again. Very excited that football's back. It feels like football just got back, and now we're already into week 2. Before you know it, it's going to be week 4. We're going to be a quarter way through the season. That's how football always works. A lot of good college football as well. But we'll get into our main slate. NFL Sunday, week 2. Let's get into it. So now that the NFL week 2 has been completed, a lot of weird teams that are started 2-0, a lot of weird teams that have started 0-2 that people were unexpected. But let's start with one of the craziest blocked field goals that I've ever seen in my entire life. Happened Sunday Night Football, Patriots-Dolphins in Foxborough. Dolphins are lining up to kick a field goal, 17-3. They're trying to expand their lead to 20-3. And they're going to try to attempt a field goal. And when you're watching this field goal, just look at the left side of your screen. Just take a look at the left side of your screen. So they're lining up for the field goal here. Here it is right here. Snap the ball, and out of nowhere, this guy comes running off field. Like, it looks, where'd this guy come from? He just runs out of nowhere, blocks the kick. Patriots pick up the ball in Dolphin territory. But where did that guy come from? Let's go back real quick to the beginning of this play. Everyone's just standing here, and this guy comes out of nowhere from the left side and dives and blocks the kick. Did he sub in? Where did he come from? Did he sub onto the field late? Where was this guy? He comes, so they show a replay, and Bill Belichick, the savvy coach that he is, probably has a special team coach practicing this all the time. It was almost like, you know when Troy Polamalu used to jump the snap count and like sack the quarterback before he even could do anything about it? That's what this looked like. This guy, he lined up like he was a gunner on a punt formation way over there, and he comes flying in, times up the snap count perfectly, dives in and blocks the field goal. Unbelievable effort there. Crazy play. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I mean, I'm in South Florida now. I was watching with a lot of Dolphins fans. I actually live with a Patriots fan too, so I had a bunch of Dolphins fans and a Patriots fan for that game last night, and never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. So that kicks us off with one of the craziest blocked field goals I have ever seen as an NFL fan. And after 2 weeks of NFL football, there are 7 teams that are still undefeated. 2 of them from the AFC. The Dolphins got that win against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football, and the Ravens beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow still struggled, but the Ravens, 2-0, them and the Dolphins are the only 2 undefeated teams remaining in the AFC. The NFC has 5 teams remaining that are undefeated, 2 from the NFC East, the Cowboys and the Eagles. That Cowboys defense has looked exceptional. We talked about them last week in that crazy rout against the Giants when they won 40-0. Defense looks just as powerful as it did last week against the other New York team, the Jets. The 49ers are also 2-0. And then 2 teams from the NFC South. Don't know how many people would have said that after 2 weeks. The Atlanta Falcons are 2-0. And the Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2-0. So let's see how long these teams last at 2-0. But 7 teams undefeated heading into week 3. And we'll get into our play of the day segment. This was almost a play of the day, but then a not play of the day immediately afterwards. So if you guys didn't see, Denver and Washington played a great game on Sunday in Denver. Denver went up early. Washington looked like they had nothing going on offense, and then out of nowhere came storming back to go ahead, actually. Denver tied it up, then Washington scored again. But in the waning seconds of the fourth quarter, we'll pull it up here now, with 3 seconds remaining, Washington up by 8 points. Russell Wilson and the Broncos at the 50-yard line. Last second heave to the end zone, looking for a Hail Mary. Only chance they got. And the ball is batted around multiple times, pops up into the air, and it's caught for a touchdown by the Broncos. So, ball was bat. Commanders, bat the ball down. Bat the ball down, not up. 2 defenders in their attempt, looking like they're trying to catch the ball, bat it up in the air, right to the goal line, right into the hands of Johnson for the touchdown. Oh, that last Commander's safety just tips it right up to the goal line. And great concentration there from Johnson to secure the catch and finish the touchdown. So now, down by 8, Broncos have to go for 2 to send this game to overtime. No time on the clock. This is the last play of the game. 2-point conversion to tie the game. Best play in the playbook here from Sean Payton. This is your last chance to tie the game. Russ lines up in the shotgun. He's going to take the snap, looking right the entire time, throws right to Courtland Sutton, who is unable to come up with the catch. And Broncos are complaining. They want the flag. Russ wants it. Courtland Sutton wants it. And if you look at this replay again, it looked as if the Washington Commanders cornerback was there a little bit early on the left shoulder of Courtland Sutton, kind of pulling him away from the ball, making it a little bit difficult for him to pull that down. Might have been a defensive pass interference that they missed, but nevertheless, as you see right there, Commanders might have been a little bit early for that one, but try falls incomplete. Broncos lose by 2 after completing a Hail Mary. So, like thinking to tie the game, but nope. So, for 2 weeks in Sean Payton's new tenure as the Denver Broncos head coach, a lot of the same as last year. He had a lot of stuff to say. A lot of stuff to say before the season, a lot of stuff to say before we played the Raiders. And it hasn't played out for him so far. So far, Broncos 0-2, and it's looking like the same things as last year is happening. And what did I say last week? What did this team really change? They got Sean Payton. Yeah, he's a good coach. I think Sean Payton's a good coach. But I don't think just changing your coach is going to turn around an entire franchise just like that. I don't think that's how it works. So, moving out after our weekly recap, we're going to move into the game of the week. And, oh man, this game came from the 4 o'clock window. And if you didn't see this game, this game started off really ugly. First of all, not the greatest matchup on paper here, especially after last week. Arizona is looking to be maybe the worst team in the league, and the New York Giants had one of the worst Week 1 performances in the history of the NFL, losing 40-0 to the Cowboys at home. So, not great starts for either of these teams. They meet in Week 2 in Arizona. Giants looking for their first win, same with Arizona. And right off the bat, picking it up in the first quarter, as Josh Dobbs hands to James Conner, who runs it in for a 4-yard score. That's going to put the Cardinals up 7-0 early in the game. And the Giants are going to get the ball. And on their first possession, they're going to go 3 and out. On third down here, Daniel Jones is pressured and sacked. They're going to have to punt, so not a good start from the Giants. Last week, 40-0. This week, already 7-0. So we'll jump ahead here as Arizona gets the ball again, working their way into the red zone, just outside the red zone, from the 23-yard line. Josh Dobbs is going to get the snap. He's going to look around, survey the field. Doesn't find anybody, but he's going to pull it down, tuck it, and run. He's got room. He's got the first down, and he stands up a defender at the goal line. Absolutely runs over the safety at the goal line. He's not going to like watching that back on film. Touchdown Cardinals, 14-0 now. So Arizona looking good out the gate. Giants, more the same from last week early. Giants unable to do anything on offense again. They're going to give the ball right back to Arizona. They're going to go back down the field, and they're going to kick another field goal. So 17-0 Arizona, about midway through the second quarter here. Next possession for the Giants. 2nd and 8 play here. Daniel Jones is going to take the snap. He's going to look for Saquon Barkley out in the flat, who's going to have it tip off of his hands, jump right into the air, and it's intercepted. Right into the hands of the Arizona Cardinals. Cornerback, he runs down the sideline for a 20-yard gain. Cardinals ball just outside the red zone yet again. Excuse me. Giants defense does hold here as they weren't able to move the ball any further. Weren't able to enter the red zone, but they kicked the 45-yard field goal to make it 20-0 just before the half. And Giants try to do something, but Daniel Jones is sacked again. They're going to take it into the half. And 20-0 Cardinals at halftime. So through 6 quarters of this year's NFL season, the New York Giants are being outscored 60-0 so far. 60-0 through 6 quarters. That's not a good start. Not a good start at all. So we're going to jump it off with the first play of the second half here. The New York Giants get the ball. And Obviously, they're not happy with that first half. First play of the second half, they're going deep. Daniel Jones lofts one down the field. Jalen Hyatt's got it. He's all the way within the red zone, inside the 15-yard line of the Cardinals. Big play on the first play of the second half for the Giants, looking to turn it around. And 2 plays later, Daniel Jones fakes a handoff, pulls it, runs to the goal line, scores the first touchdown of the game for the Giants. So, good read there for Daniel Jones as he pulls it on the read option there and gets in for the first score of the season for the New York Giants. Mind you, not just the first score of the game, the first score of the season in the third quarter of week 2. So, not a great start, but they're looking to turn it around now. And if you aren't aware, this is the Game of the Week segment, so something might happen here. Next, Cardinals possession after a few nice runs from James Conner, and he had a very, very nice day. He scored early. He ended up with over 100 yards on the ground, and he was working this entire game. Gets them all the way within the 2-yard line, and on second and goal, Josh Dobbs is going to find Marquise Brown out of the backfield, the former Oklahoma Sooner, and he is going to score that one to make it 26-7. But in order to make it a 3-score ball game, Arizona's going to go for 2, and they are going to convert with a Josh Dobbs power to the right. 2-point conversion good, 28-7, 3-touchdown ball game. So, Giants, they're going to have to get it going, as that first drive of the second half was good, but it's time now. They're down 21 again. So, driving, Giants moving in, get inside the red zone, and on a third and goal play here, they're going to hand it to Saquon Barkley, who's going to take it in to make it a 28-14 game. So Saquon gets in the end zone. Had a solid day for himself up to this point, but there was more to come. So, Giants defense really looking for a stop here. Really need to get their ball back for their offense, but they have not been able to stop this Arizona Cardinals team all day long. But on a third down play, just across midfield, Josh Dobbs looks deep down the right sideline, and that is going to be incomplete. So the Giants are going to force a punt here. They're going to get a chance to get the ball back. Just the start of the fourth quarter, down 2 touchdowns, Giants with the ball back. Giants march down the field. Darren Waller had a couple nice catches on this drive. So did Isaiah Hodgins. And after picking up a 4th down on a QB sneak just outside the 5-yard line, on third and goal from the 9, Daniel Jones rolls right, finds Saquon Barkley, who lunges for the pylon and gets there for his second touchdown of the day, this time receiving. He's in there, 28-21. And for some reason, after they scored this touchdown, the New York Giants lined up to go for 2. For what reason, I have no idea. Just kicking an extra point makes it a touchdown game. Why would you need to be up down by 6? I don't know. Just make it a touchdown game. But on the ensuing 2-point conversion, the Giants got a false start, moved it back, so then they do kick the extra point, which I thought was smart anyway. So, 7-point game. The Cardinals get the ball back, and the Giants force a 3-and-out. On 3rd and 9, Cardinals pick up a penalty. A very, very common theme for the end of this game for the Arizona Cardinals. Offensive penalties killed them. But on 3rd down and 14, Josh Dobbs is going to throw it out to the flat. The running back's going to be able to get a couple yards, but nothing substantial. And they're going to have to punt it back to the Giants. So, Giants defense kind of stepping up here big when they really need them the most. So the Giants are driving. 2nd and 11 from the 20-yard line. Darren Waller is going to make a catch over the middle, set them up just outside the 10. Daniel Jones on 2nd and goal from the 11-yard line is going to look left and find Isaiah Hodgins in the middle of the end zone for the touchdown to tie the ball game with 4.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So the Giants down 20-0 entering halftime, 28-7 late in the third quarter, storm all the way back to tie the game up 28-28. So what a comeback from Daniel Jones and the Giants. Saquon Barkley had a big role in it too, as he had 2 touchdowns, 1 in the air, 1 on the ground. But the Cardinals are going to get the ball back right again, and the Giants, the defense played very well at the end of this game. 3rd and 6. The Giants are going to force 3rd and 6. Of course. What's going to happen? False start by the Arizona Cardinals offensive line. These offensive penalties killed this Arizona Cardinals team late in this fourth quarter. 2 drives in a row, absolutely plagued with false start penalties. Put them way back, 3rd and 16. Nothing really doing here. Shallow cross to Zach Ertz. He's not picking up the first down. Cardinals are going to have to punt again. Saquon Barkley took this next drive over. They gave him the ball basically every play of this drive, and he was going to town. Daniel Jones made a nice throw over the middle, but Saquon Barkley really, really made this drive until he got rolled up on, and what may be a high ankle sprain, they're saying just maybe a normal ankle sprain, he got rolled up on, had to end the game. So they had to take him out, kept pushing the drive down the field. They get inside the red zone to around the 15-yard line, sets up Graham Gano for 34 yards, nails it, puts the Giants up 31-28 with just 19 seconds to go. Giants storm all the way back to take a 3-point lead as the Cardinals have a one last-ditch effort as Dobbs drops back, lofts a Hail Mary all the way to the 10-yard line. It's knocked down. No crazy tip going on. This isn't Denver. This is Arizona. Giants win. Crazy comeback. Largest Giant comeback in franchise history since 1949. And it ties the largest comeback in franchise history. So the two largest, or tied for the largest comeback in franchise history by the New York Giants. Resilient win by them. And the first time since 1949, which is a pretty long time ago, if you're not aware. So a much, much, much needed win by the New York Giants as they were being embarrassed. They looked like the worst team in the NFL for 6 quarters of football there. 60-0 point differential. But they were able to turn it around and come back to beat the Arizona Cardinals 31-28. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the NFL standings update. Last week we had the predictions. Now we finally have a little bit of stuff to go on. 2 games played from every team. We're going to get into the standings update. The AFC East, we'll start with them. Right now, after 2 weeks of football, the number 1 seed in the AFC East is the Miami Dolphins, as they are one of 2 teams undefeated in the AFC. They beat the Patriots on Sunday Night Football in a pretty good game. Patriots defense has been pretty solid for 2 weeks, and Tua Tagovailoa is now 5-0 versus Bill Belichick. 5-0, that's something right there. Very impressive stuff. Tyreek didn't do as much as he did yesterday. Jalen Waddle actually had a better day yesterday. Tyreek did catch a touchdown, but that Miami offense was able to do just enough as they were able to hand New England the loss. And that game ended crazily when there was a 4th down for New England going in down by 7. Pass to Mike Gesicki, who lateraled it back to an offensive lineman who almost got the first down. He was about a half yard short of the first down. Wild play to end the game. Right now, the New York Jets are in 2nd place in the AFC East. They just lost to Dallas. That defense is unbelievable in Dallas. Zach Wilson really didn't have a chance against them. He didn't look great. And I think this offense is going to struggle. Sure, there was one lightning strike from Garrett Wilson. There was one last week, too, from Breece Hall, who had, an 80-yard run. So it seems like the theme is there's going to be 1 or 2 big plays from this offense. But, Zach Wilson, I don't know how this is going to work with him. But that was a very good defense they just played, so we can expect to see some improvement from their offense in the future, especially because Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall only had 4 touches each. What is that? Those are your guys. You're going to have to feed them, especially with Zach Wilson running the quarterback position. 3rd place in the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills. They absolutely killed my Raiders yesterday, and it was very sad to watch. And Josh Allen looked like his normal self. Of course he did, because our defense is terrible. And I don't know if you saw, I think it was his 2nd touchdown pass of the day. The only play of the day, maybe, where the Raiders put a little bit of pressure on him. He was a little bit flustered. He had to take a step back in the pocket. And as he was adjusting his position, he just kind of flipped a sidearm pass to the goal line. And he's got crazy arm talent. I don't know how he got that ball in so fast, but it's a great throw. And he looked like himself again. But, the Raiders are the same. The Raiders are the same. We'll get into them later when I talk about them. But it's the same Raiders team that you really always see. The New England Patriots lost to Miami. And the New England Patriots fall to 0-2 for the first time since 2001. And, we all know what happened in 2001, though. That was the year of the Tuck rule, the year of the the start of the Patriots dynasty, the year of the start of Tom Brady, and the year of the start of the end for the Raiders. We all know what happened then, so it's not all over yet. We'll jump over to the NFC East and the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my, the Dallas Cowboys. They're undefeated, 2-0. They beat both the New York teams. They've beaten down on both of them. And their defense is a force to be reckoned with so far this year. They look almost unbeatable right now. Their pass rush is amazing. Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence are so good. I mean, CD had an amazing game yesterday. They didn't even really use Tony Pollard that much as I thought they would yesterday, but he's a very good piece. I mean, as long as Dak doesn't turn the ball over, this is a dangerous team. Dangerous team. The Philadelphia Eagles, this is my division pick winner, Super Bowl appearance last year. They beat the Vikings on Thursday night. They took care of the Vikings pretty handedly on Thursday night. I mean, their offensive line is unbelievable. They ran all over them. They controlled the ball for, I gotta say, probably 35 minutes of that game. I'm not sure exactly, but it seemed like it. The Vikings came back and made it a respectable game. But, I mean, a lot of their offense, a lot of Kirk's production was kind of in garbage time after the Eagles had all their points. And, I don't know, DeAndre Swift ran for 175 yards. They looked very, very good. The Washington Commanders, they are 2-0. The Washington Commanders. Wait, no, they're not. Who did they lose to? I don't even know. But the Washington Commanders had a wild game yesterday in Denver where Denver went up on them early, 21-3. Sam Howell brought them all the way back, took them up, went up 27-24. Tied ball game again. Denver kicked a field goal, but Sam Howell was able to come back and defeat Denver, and we talked about it earlier. We showed the end of it. Russell Wilson completed a 50-yard Hail Mary, tip drill Hail Mary, very lucky play, but in the next play, they were unable to convert the two-point conversion to tie the game, so the Commanders won by 2 points. The New York Giants, we talked about them. They were our game of the week this week after having a terrible outing in week 1 and in the first half of their game. They came back for the largest comeback, tied the largest comeback in New York Giants history, largest since 1949. Good for them, but they're still sitting at the bottom of the NFC East. We're going to go to the AFC North now, and sitting atop the AFC North, just beating the Cincinnati Bengals on the road in Cincinnati, the other 2-0 team in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar looked better than he did in week 1. He didn't look great against Houston, which was kind of not something that you were expecting, but he looked much better in week 2 against a divisional rival and was able to get a division win, keep them at 2-0 and sitting atop the AFC North. The Cleveland Browns, they are playing on Monday Night Football. We're going to get back to them when I talk about that later. The Steelers are also playing tonight. They're playing each other. I think that's going to be an interesting game. We'll see what happens there. The Cincinnati Bengals, we just talked about them. They played the Ravens, and I mean, they played pretty bad again. Aside from T. Higgins scoring 2 touchdowns, that was really it. They had a punt return touchdown. That was their only touchdown. That was their first touchdown of the year, and it was their only touchdown of the year for a while there. But they were able to wake up a little bit. But Joe Burrow, I mean, what's going on with Joe Burrow right now? He almost looks banged up. Like he was. You saw him with the Theragun on his calf during the game, but something doesn't look right with him. He threw a pick at the goal line. Like he just looks off. He's the highest paid player in the history of the NFL now, as of last week, and he has not been playing like it. And they already have 2 divisional losses, which, I mean, sure, starting 0-2 is not good, but you're also 0-2 in the division. They lost to Cleveland and Baltimore. So they're in a big hole right now, and they don't look very good at all. So going to be interesting to see what happens with them as we move forward. We'll go to the NFC North now, and sitting in the top of that right now, as for now, is the Green Bay Packers. They lost to Atlanta on Sunday in a very, very crazy game. Desmond Ridder and this Atlanta offense were able to hang around and eventually come back and win off of a game-winning Younghoe Koo field goal. But, I mean, Jordan Love has looked good. He really has. The Raiders were in the 1 o'clock window, so I wasn't able to be completely locked in. Especially at this point, I was a little depressed because we lost 38-10 to Buffalo. Not a fun time. But Jordan Love looks a little bit like Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying he's Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying he's as talented as Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying he has any of the abilities that Aaron Rodgers has. He has been emulating him, and you can tell. The way that he takes his three-step drop, the way that he throws the ball, he has been studying Aaron Rodgers, and you can tell that he played behind him for a couple years. So that's interesting, and I think that they're going to be pretty good this year. I think this NFC North is going to be tight. The Lions, they lost a crazy game to Seattle in overtime at home. Brutal game for them. Jared Goff, his interception streak, streak without throwing an interception, was ended as he threw a pick six on Sunday. He was the third longest streak in the history of the NFL for not throwing an interception. Ended this weekend with a pick six. They lose an OT off a Tyler Lockett touchdown. The Vikings, they lost to Philly on Thursday. Talked about that a little bit. They didn't look very good. Their turnovers have been the killer for them. Absolute killer for them. They have turned the ball over, I believe, 6 times. I think it's just 6 fumbles lost in 2 games. That's not good. That's going to have to change quick or you're not going to win any football games. They're 0-2 right now. That's not good. They were winning every one-possession game last year. They've lost 2 one-possession games already. The Chicago Bears, they lost to the Bucks. They don't look great. They're 0-2 now. Justin Fields will have some plays where it's like, oh, Justin Fields, right? But then there will be some plays where it's like, what's going on? Like I saw a couple plays where it was like the back view where you can see what the quarterback's looking at. And obviously, I know I'm sitting at home on the couch. I'm not going to say that I'm an NFL quarterback or I could do what they do. But Justin Fields looks like he's having trouble going through his reads and seeing open receivers down the field. And that's going to have to improve if the Chicago Bears are going to get a win anytime soon. Because again, he made some plays when he shouldn't have, but he didn't make some plays when he should have. So Justin Fields needs to get through these growing pains as a young quarterback, but they're expected. But he's going to have to get over them sooner or later. We'll move over to the AFC South. And right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, my division pick, leading the division at 1-1. They lost to Kansas City. They didn't look great. Their offense didn't look very good. Chris Jones and Travis Kelce made a big difference for that Kansas City team. Really sparked the offense and the defense. Kelce had a slow start. He did end up catching a touchdown, but Chris Jones really helped that defensive front. Helped the pass rush a lot, and they were able to take down Jacksonville on the road in Jacksonville. But at the same time, not the game I was expecting. I was kind of expecting a shootout. High scoring, maybe 28 or 27 to 30, 35, something. I don't know. But it was 17-9, I believe. Not what we were expecting. Second place in the AFC South is the Indianapolis Colts. They just beat Houston. Anthony Richardson started off this game looking really good. He had 2 rushing touchdowns early in the first quarter, looking like he was going to have a great day. And on his second rushing touchdown, as he got hit at the goal line, he took a big hit, and then as he fell down, his helmet ricocheted and slammed against the ground. He played a little bit after that, but was taken out of the game, evaluated for concussion, and was ruled out with a concussion. So he has a concussion now. Not ideal for them, but he looked good, which is promising. Gardner Minshew, of course, comes into the game for the Colts and played a very solid game, winning the game for Indianapolis, but this Houston team, young, inexperienced, doesn't look very great. Tennessee Titans had another wild game. Two wild games for Tennessee. Last week they lost by 1 against the Saints in New Orleans. This week they play the Chargers at home. Game ends up going into overtime as the Chargers end up coming back and tying the game up. But the Titans were able to hold they didn't get the ball first on defense. They were able to hold the Chargers, forced a punt, got the ball back, and kicked a game-winning field goal to beat the Chargers in overtime. So, Tennessee, 2 very hard-fought games, very weird team to beat. It seems like they're going to be in every game. Maybe a team that takes their opponent down with them because their defense isn't too bad, but that offense is a little bit of a struggle. Houston, we talked about them a little bit. They just lost to Indianapolis. They don't look great. Neither does C.J. Stroud. They're a young team. They're going to have a lot of growing pains this year. And, I mean, they look like they're going to be in the running for a top 5 pick this year. Heading over to the South with the NFC this side. As of right now, there are 2 teams in the NFC South that are 2-0. Sitting on top, as they have a division win, the Atlanta Falcons. They beat Carolina week 1, but they just beat Green Bay in a very good game. Green Bay looked good. I said Jordan Love looks good. But Desmond Ridder looked much better in this game than he did last week. Last week, they only threw 18 passes. He didn't get anything to Drake London, no catches for him. But this week, Drake London was able to catch the ball. He found the end zone. Desmond Ridder was able to lead a couple drives late in the game to get a score and a field goal to beat Green Bay by 1. Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield looks very good for them. He does. He's been hitting Mike Evans all over the place. Mike Evans had a day. He had 170 yards and a touchdown. What a day from him. They beat Chicago. As I said, they don't look great. And I have Atlanta and the Tampa Bay going 8-9. So they're both 2-0 so far. So we'll see how my prediction heads up with that. The New Orleans Saints playing Monday Night Football. We'll be back in a little bit to talk about that. They are playing the division rival Carolina Panthers, who are the last team in this division right now. We're going to see Bryce Young tonight against the New Orleans Saints and my guy Derek Carr. Pretty excited for that one. And we'll jump over to the AFC West now. Speaking of Derek Carr, his old division, old team, my team, the Raiders. Through 2 weeks of the NFL season, even though the Raiders got stomped by the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo this weekend, the Raiders are still in first place in the AFC West because they're 1-1, and they have a division win. They beat Denver last week. Only team with a division win so far. They lost to Buffalo, like I said, and we played terribly. And like I said, it's the same old Raiders. And I'll tell you why. Same old Raiders. This is what we do. We're notorious for it. Past 5 years, this is what we do. If we get the ball first, we're going to have a great first drive. We're going to go right down the field. All of our plays are going to be great. Josh McDaniels wrote up a great script. It's been sitting on it all week, and it's great. Touchdown on the first drive. Happens 9 times out of 10. This doesn't. We end up getting a stop here. 3 and out immediately after that. Get the ball right back. All right, let's go. Let's go up 2 scores. Second play of that drive, pick on a screen pass. As soon as that happens, the Raiders offense goes completely stagnant for the rest of the game. Nothing happens for the entire game, and that's just a common theme. The Raiders will score first, play absolutely flat football, terrible, for the next 35 to 40 minutes, and at the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, maybe they'll come around, but that's not a guarantee. So, got a 3 and out, then we picked it off, obviously, or they picked it off. They picked off Jimmy Garoppolo, and then after that, it was the Josh Allen show. So, Kansas City, they just beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. The return of Travis Kelce and Chris Jones was extremely helpful, but still, they didn't play great. Mahomes got picked off. I mean, they only scored 17 points, which is like, I mean, they should score more than that. You know, they're the Chiefs. But they don't have that many receivers. The receivers don't look great so far. So that's something to look out for. Kansas City Chiefs, they're still my pick to win the division. I watch them every year. I play them twice a year, 12-5, probably going to win the division. Probably going to be a 1 or 2 seed in the AFC, but a little bit of struggle so far. What, they lost 21-20, right? On Thursday, opening one, so they've scored 20 points and 17. Something to look for. The Los Angeles Chargers, they lost to Tennessee in overtime, like I said earlier, and they're 0-2 now, and they can't finish games. Their defense does not look very good. Like Brandon Staley, ever since he's been the coach, their defense does not look great. They have a lot of big names in that defense, too. They have Khalil Mack, they have Joey Bosa, they have J.C. Jackson, they have Derwin James. That was the name I couldn't think of last week, if you were watching. All these guys, and their defense is not very good, and they just can't finish ball games. Like last week, they lose to Miami, shootout game. They can't pull it off in the last drive of the game with about a minute and a half to go. This week, they get the ball first in overtime, can't do anything with it, lose off a field goal. So Chargers looking like a similar Chargers team, like can't win the games that are important, but we'll see what happens. Still early in the year. And Denver Broncos looking like the Denver Broncos we saw last year, just with Sean Payton at the helm. They lost to the Washington Commanders in a close game. They were up for a long part of that game, blew the game really. And as we talked about before, we showed it. They converted a Hail Mary as time expired to cut the deficit 2 points. But they did not convert that 2-point conversion as Cortland Sutton was unable to make the play. Might have been pass interference on the defense there. No call. And to wrap it up, we'll go with the NFC West here. And the 49ers, looking as good as the 49ers usually do. They beat LA. Their skill players looked really good. Like Debo looked really good. Christian McCaffrey looked really good. Ayuk looked pretty good. Ayuk looked a little banged up, though. Purdy looked okay, though. He missed a couple deep throws, though. He missed Debo for a touchdown. He had him earlier. It was a tougher throw. 2 Debo potential touchdowns, but, I mean, one of them was hard. One of them he missed the throw. But Brock Purdy still has not lost a regular season game. He hasn't lost a game that he started and finished, I believe. But he definitely hasn't lost a regular season game, I can tell you that. The Seattle Seahawks needed a bounce-back game after they lost at home to LA. And that's exactly what they got. They go to Detroit, play a crazy game. In overtime, they beat them on a Tyler Lockett game-winning touchdown. Geno leads the drive. They got the ball first in overtime and did what the Chargers were unable to do, was go down the field and score a touchdown to walk them off. Tyler Lockett scores that. Geno walks him off in Detroit. Los Angeles Rams, they just lost to San Francisco. Puka Nacua. Wow. Puka Nacua just broke the NFL record for the most receptions in his first 2 games in the NFL. Puka Nacua. Remember that name. But he's filling that Cooper Kupp role because he's not available for the time being, at least 4 weeks, probably more. But the Rams lose to San Francisco. They look decent, though. They do. And Puka Nacua, like I said, I think he had 15 receptions for 147 yards for 2 weeks in a row. Pretty impressive. And the Arizona Cardinals, we just talked about them. They were our game of the week, not in a good way, because they blew the game to the Giants. They were up 20-0 at halftime and 28-7 at one point. And this second half was extremely ugly for them. A lot of costly penalties from the offense and the offensive line that pushed them back and didn't give them a chance really to come back, or to not give the chance to come back and win this game. They could have easily put this game away, but they were unable to. And that'll wrap up our standings update for now, as I'll be back right after these Monday night games end in about 5 hours. But I'll see you later. Okay, so week 2 officially over as Monday Night Football concludes. And this week, 2 games on Monday Night Football for this week. Pretty entertaining Monday Night Football. One of the games is a little bit slower than the other one. One of them was a hard-fought AFC North battle, like every single AFC North game that there ever is. And the other one was an NFC South battle between 2 teams that are a little bit less high-powered. We'll start with the one that started earlier. The Carolina Panthers at home. Bryce Young's first ever home start as the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers took on Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints, other 1-0 team. Started off early with the Saints defense playing very well. Panthers struggling. They were pressured. Whenever Bryce Young was pressured, he struggled heavily. But when he didn't get pressured, he was able to work through his reads and make some nice throws. So he actually looked good when that offense was able to get him some time. That line needs to get their act together in order to get their rookie quarterback to the next level. But a couple turnovers early, a lot of field goals, trading field goals early. I think it went into half 6-3. There really wasn't a big play in this game until Chris Olave made a big play down the left sideline. Derek Carr made a nice throw. Olave made a nice juggling catch, one-handed catch down the left sideline. Fire play from him. Jamal Williams got hurt in this game. Injuries, a theme for Monday Night Football so far. We'll get into that more later. I'm sure you've seen. Jamal Williams did get hurt, so Tony Jones Jr., he was able to punch in the first score of the game for New Orleans, and they rolled a score again later on to extend the lead to 20-13, was it? No, it was 20-11. Sorry, it was 20-11. And the Panthers kind of scored a garbage time touchdown, didn't get the onside kick, so a pretty slow game in that one, not that much going on, but the New Orleans Saints, add them to the list of 2-0 teams, make that list 8. I said 7 earlier, make that list to 8. 8 undefeated teams in the NFL after 2 weeks. The New Orleans Saints with Derek Carr, like I said before, I thought they were going to be better this year. I think Derek Carr is going to be better this year. They have a very good defense. They didn't let up their first touchdown until under the last 2 minutes of the game tonight. So Panthers didn't score until the last under 2 minutes after the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter. So they almost went 2 games without giving up a touchdown. Pretty impressive stuff from that New Orleans defense. And, I mean, Derek Carr, he hasn't been good. I like him a lot. He hasn't been great yet. I think he'll come around a little bit, but he hasn't been great so far. But they're 2-0. The defense has been doing enough. So we'll see what happens there. The other game between the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh against the Cleveland Browns, coming off a win last week in Cincinnati against the Bengals. This game started off with a bang. First play of the game, Deshaun Watson threw into the left flat. tipped up in the air, looked like it was going to be picked off by Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah Fitzpatrick has it ripped out of his hands, knocked back up into the air, picked off again by Alex Hightower on the Steelers, the linebacker, who runs it in for a touchdown. So the first play of the game, Deshaun Watson throws a pick six. Crazy start to the ball game. That just was going to tell you what was going on for that game because it was a pretty wild back and forth affair between the two teams. The Steelers were able to go up there. They let up a field goal. I believe it was a 7-3 ball game. Kept progressing there from on. The Browns scored a touchdown to make it 11-7 because the Steelers had a penalty on the field goal, so they ended up going for two, 11-7. And early in this game, Nick Chubb suffered a brutal leg injury, and they didn't show it on the broadcast. They didn't show the replay on the broadcast, but I was able to see the play. Not a very good looking injury. Prayers up for Nick Chubb. Hope he's okay. Hope he's able to recover again. But that injury was scary. His body was like fully sideways and his foot was still on the ground. It was tough to watch. So prayers up for him. Hopefully he's able to recover from that. And I mean, if you remember, this is the second time that Nick Chubb has injured his left knee, the same knee. Back when he was in college at Georgia, he suffered a devastating left knee injury in a game against Tennessee where I believe he dislocated the kneecap, tore the patella, tore the ACL, a bunch of ligaments. Devastating knee injury. Ryan Clark of ESPN was talking earlier today about how he was talking to Nick Chubb about that injury in college and how he never thought he'd be the same again, and now he might have potentially done the exact same thing, maybe worse, to that exact same left knee. So, again, hopefully Nick Chubb's able to come back from this. Prayers up for him. But brutal to watch. Tough for the Browns, too, I think that might have been the first quarter when that happened. Late in the first quarter, but he was their whole offense. He was going nuts. He was running the ball all over the place, going right through the teeth of that Steelers defense, running everywhere. So hopefully he's able to come back again and become the player, or return to the form that we know that Nick Chubb is. But the game continues. They go up. Browns go up 11-7. Steelers offense really wasn't able to get much going. The offensive line didn't look very good. There was not many holes to run through for Najee Harris and for Jaylen Warren, and Kenny Pickett was running for his life all over the place in the pocket. So it was not ideal for him. One big play, though, a 71-yard touchdown to George Pickens, put them ahead. Big play there, really the only big play of the game from the Pittsburgh offense. But the Pittsburgh defense played very good. I believe they had 6 or 7 sacks on the day. They had that first pick six. And late in the game, when they were down, Browns had the ball. About 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Same guy who had the pick six came in, strip sack on Deshaun Watson. Who picks up the ball? None other than T.J. Watt. He runs into the end zone for a score to put the Steelers up, and that would hold. They would win the game by a total of 4 points, 26-22. And T.J. Watt became the 4th player in NFL history to have 4 sacks and a touchdown in his first 2 games of the season, joining Lawrence Taylor as one of those people. Greatest of all time. So T.J. Watt in rare company, and that Steelers defense is a force to be reckoned with right now. Looks very good. And just in time for them to play the Raiders next week on Sunday night. So that's not going to be fun. We'll see what happens there. First home game for the Raiders next week. We'll see about that. But that's going to wrap up another week of the NFL Sports Show. And that's going to be it for us. Follow us on the BBSA Sports Show on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all the accounts. Make sure you like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Follow the BV Academy accounts and head over to bvacademy.com for all your Valentine Sports Academy needs. And that's it for us. Peace out.